Welcome to GoalieShare. This week we got Chris Economou and Eric Hoffberg back with us, and we're going to talk about a topic now since most of the non-NHL seasons are coming to an end here. We're going to talk about a simple concept, and that's you don't need to be a pro to train like a pro. And essentially what we're trying to get at here is the simple detail of we all have resources available to us. Are those resources a book? Are they a personal trainer? Are they a goalie coach? Are they an on-ice coach? Are they an off? You name it. Everybody's got different levels of resources, and we need to use the resources we have available to us in order to start a training process. And the next thing is you don't have to have this perfect, beautiful plan in place to get going. And that is especially true for goaltenders, because I think goaltenders get this feeling like their position's such a specialized thing that they have to have maybe a more complete plan together in order to get started. And kind of the point we're trying to drive home today is you just have to get started. You have to start that journey, right? And so it's fun to have Econ with us today, because he came up with some cool things that goaltenders can think about in their off-season training practice. So Econ, why don't you kind of go through the list that you put together?
Yeah, it's a great point, because in the old days, the guys would go to training camp to get in shape. Now you need to be in shape to go to training camp. And there are multiple things you can do for your game all the time. But in summer, in the off season, it's really a great opportunity to work and devote time to all the small things that you can get done to improve your game. And there's basically three categories that you can work on. Obviously, you have off ice. You can work on the ice in camps, things like that. And you have to study and be a student of the game and work on your goalie IQ. I don't think this video we're going to talk about on ice. Everyone does camps and things like that, and we can talk about that in another video. But the off ice, in talking to a lot of especially young goalies, they seem lost at times, and they're being told do this, do that, but there's really no game plan for them. So we came up with like a bunch of different things that you could focus on. So obviously flexibility is something that you can always improve on. That's probably number one on the list. I mean, if you look at the top goalies in the world, they're definitely flexible. And if you aren't, and you aren't able to contort your body, especially with the way the game and the position is evolving, with the hip flexibility, moving into the post and filling space, you're going to be in trouble. You also risk injury if you're not flexible, and you aren't going to be very durable. Hand-eye coordination is enormous. I mean, it's not good enough to just stop the puck. You have to be able to control it, and your hand-eye coordination gives you the ability to do so. Agility, we want you to work on being able to get to locations, and the quicker you are, the better you make transition, the easier the game is. Cardio is a must. You can't be a fat kid in the net and think that you're going to be able to be the best goalie in the world. It's not going to happen. You're going to die out at the end of games, and you just aren't going to be able to get things accomplished. So if you don't look like a pro athlete, you probably aren't a pro athlete. And then strength training, it's a little bit different for goalies. Obviously, you don't want to go in the gym and do a ton of powerlifting. Maybe legs, you would do a lot of something like that. But realistically, you want fast, flexible muscle. So your training program needs to include like forearm strength, so you're shooting the puck. Lean, flexible muscle mass, very toned. And those are the things that you need to accomplish. So looking at that, I mean, that's a huge list, and the huge thing to engulf right away and think, how am I going to get all that done? Well, in the summer, you have time to prepare for that and work on all those aspects. And I feel like when you tell kids that, hey, you need to get this done, they'll do it in the short term, and then they sort of forget about other aspects, and then they just go to one thing, and then they say, well, I'm going to camp. Well, it's important to get it done and have a great plan to accomplish this, because this is what separates you from other goalies.
Right, absolutely. And so as you're setting that plan up, obviously if you're talking about flexibility, it's a great example, or even strength. Those are things that you can't just do once in a while and expect good results, right? So in order for us to be effective inside that training, there's obviously got to be a mental side that we accept and that we embrace. There has to be a focus and determination to it. And so I think this is a good time. Hoff, love to get your thoughts on this. You're putting the off-season program. You know where you want to attack. Now, how do we do that in a high-quality way?
Yeah, I'm listening to Econ talk, and the thing that comes forward to me really the most right off the bat is the idea that we build, all of us, and particularly goalies, and I've worked a lot with goalies, high-end, pro, amateur goalies, and that, confidence is so important, and we build confidence when we pay the price. Like when we know that we've paid the price. We build confidence when we get ourselves organized around a plan, and then realize that we've activated that plan, that we're executing within that plan. And so this is actually a time to build confidence, not just for summer showcases that might be coming up, or for next fall or whatever when the season starts, but for 10, 11 months from now when you're in the postseason. And so I think along the lines of that, this is a time to really, any goalie of any age should be taking part in his or her plan. And if you do take part in that plan and you do have this sense of yourself that you're paying the price, you're going to build confidence. I think from a mindset, one of the things that I'm hearing is that we want to be intentional. So if I'm doing a hand-eye drill just by throwing, a ball against a wall and doing a crazy ball against the wall where I'm getting random bounces, am I doing that just to build hand-eye coordination? Or am I doing that because I realize that this is going to be the difference maker for me to be a great postseason goaltender next season, right? So get even more intentional about everything that you're doing, that you're looking for specific rewards, specific improvement. This is a time of year, actually, believe it or not, this is a time of year where you're going to strengthen one of your most important abilities as a goalie, and that's being in the moment. So all of the things that Econ's talking about, on ice, off ice, or working on hockey IQ, which we can talk more about how to do that this time of year. But in all of those moments, be in the moment. And even if you're just telling yourself, right here, right now, I'm doing this with a purpose. Right here, right now, I'm getting to be a better goaltender. I'm focusing on what I'm doing. I'm present. I'm in the moment. This is going to be really, really important, because as much as any ability that you have to be, that needs to be strong as a goaltender, it's your ability to be present without distraction. So whatever you're doing, be in the moment right now. This is actually also a time of year so great for your mindset and your heart power is to reinforce, state it again, redeclare how much you love being a goalie. Like, think about that on purpose. Take the time to slow down the way that you can in the off season, because you don't have pressure looming, from a game coming up or all the distractions going on from everything that happens in a season. This is a time of year to really talk about with other goalies how much you love being a goalie, to think about, how much you love being a hockey player, to think about how much you love the sport. And also, again, what a great time of year to feel that just with what's going on right in front of us on the TV every night, just to sit in awe of what these guys are doing, these NHL goalies, and just to think about, how much you love it. The other thing that I think that when Econ was talking about, just the different ways that you need to think about this, I love that, and taking ownership of the plan. Make a little checklist for yourself. What are the 5 things that you want to improve upon? And so maybe even right now, if you're watching this video, you might have things around, I need to be more explosive. I need to get better laterally. I want to improve my hand-eye. I want to be able to, catch and contain or whatever, see the puck all the way in. But maybe one of the things you're also thinking about is that I need to get better at being in the moment. But if you give yourself the checklist, if you give yourself the 5 things that you're going to try to own up to each week, then you're that much more intentional, you're that much more specific, and then you're feeling that much more organized, you're more aware that you're paying the price, and all the things that I'm talking about are going to kind of rise up for you and you'll improve. But it's just such an important point, I think, that Econ is making, that I hear loud and clear is that and that you said also, Kevin, is that get organized. Get a plan, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Go find a wall and throw a ball against it, and you're doing something in that. So good stuff there.
Yeah, awesome. And you talked a lot about the time of the year and the time of the year, right? We get to watch NHL playoffs, and that's probably the most exciting time in our sport. It's some of the most intense, action-packed hockey we get to watch. And we know, we were talking about this as we were prepping for this call, we know we're going to see some saves that completely change the course of the game. May actually be the difference maker between winning a Stanley Cup or not winning a Stanley Cup. And what we have to, I think, connect with is the fact that those extra reps, if I made that check on my checklist that I did the extra sets, the extra reps, paid attention to the detail to be a little bit better with my lateral movement and do an extra exercise that works on my lateral movement, that can literally be the difference between that goaltender winning a Stanley Cup and losing a Stanley Cup. So what we do now preps us for the next the next postseason, right? The next playoff run that we're in.
Right, not just the first game of this coming season, but the last game, that you might play in, which could be the biggest game of your life. Right, I love that.
Exactly, and I think the last thing too is if you're able to manipulate that plan, if you're able to take ownership of and set your plan up, try to at least have kind of what I call a home base to your plan. If the plan gets real piecemealed along the way, meaning one week you're with one strength trainer, next week you're with another strength trainer, and then you're at a hockey camp and everything like that, try to have one source you come back to so that there's some consistency throughout your training process. And that's obviously the same for goaltenders. If you're working on specific pieces of your game, you want to continue to develop them. You don't want to work on it for 1 week and then completely forget about that, because chances are that one piece of your game that you're working on is actually going to be kind of a big snowball to the next piece, to the bigger picture of your game.
All right. Yeah. Econ, what should goalies be watching for when they're watching NHL hockey right now? What do you want your guys watching?
Oh, I mean, this time of year is the best time to improve your goalie IQ. I mean, you have the best goalies in the world playing every single night, and there are so many different things that you can get from watching. Number one, you'll see how they handle the puck. You get to see what their positioning is like. You get to see how they handle pressure situations. You look for how well they control the puck and they control the rebounds. I mean, there's a million different ways to look at it. But I like to look at goalies like that the kid is like. So, for example, one of my students came to me and he said, "Who am I like?" And I told him, "Well, I think you look like Talbot." And so I said, "Go watch him and watch how he moves around. You have like the same body type, and because not everyone's the same. I mean, you can't. If you're 5'7", you aren't going to play like Devin Dubnyk and just sit there and fill all that space, or Ben Bishop. So you want to look at their skill sets and you try to put yourself in that same situation. And I love watching hockey, so it's my favorite time of the year. And you get to see so many different new things that guys will do. The one thing that's sort of like the X factor for me is like effort and big saves, and the focus that these guys use and the determination to stop the puck at all costs. And you go from technical goaltending with like the hockey school goalie stuff to absolute athlete type saves and scramble saves and whatever it takes to stop the puck, and how they break free from what we call goalie mode to just yard sale, and how they control it and go back and forth. So it's that's your goalie IQ, seeing those situations and learning what you would do in that situation. And what, if there's no better way than watching the best guys in the world handle those situations right in front of you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, watch with intention. Don't just watch as a fan right now. Go and allow yourself to be taught by everything that's going on, and And part of the reason why the goaltending is so important this time of year and why it becomes such a factor, and every year it becomes the factor as the goaltender, is because of the pressure that the goalie is getting. There's so much traffic in front. Everybody's going to the net. Everybody's following their own shot. Everybody's looking for deflections and kind of what we call the dirty goals around the house and that sort of thing, getting in the paint and that sort of thing. And just how these guys handle that, how they move, how they stay focused. I love your point, Econ, you know, their ability to go from goalie mode to athlete mode. But there's so many things that any goaltender can look at and then find inspiration and direction as to what he or she should be doing to get better.
Yep. Love it. Watch with intention, show up with intention, and start your development right away. So
yeah, train like a pro. Yeah,
train like a pro. So Econ, Hoff, thanks a lot, guys, and look forward to coming back for the next Goalie Share.
Thanks.